Whoever looked at your life and thought there has to be more? Welcome to the Corporate Escapists podcast, where stories change lives. This is a space for bold women rewriting the rules, building businesses with soul, and choosing legacy over likes. If you're ready to be seen, heard, and valued, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to this very special episode. This is our 200th episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. And I'm so delighted to have the absolute beautiful human, Lorraine, joining us. Welcome to the show, lovely.
Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you for inviting me and having this opportunity to share.
Oh, I am so delighted. I mean, honestly, I've had the pleasure of interviewing, now 200 beautiful souls from around the world. So thank you for being our very special guest for our 200th episode.
And thank you for having me.
Oh, amazing. So most people know when they're listening to the show, I get so carried away because I just want to dive into the conversation so much. But I'm going to take a moment and pause because I would love people to get to know you, and you can share a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Oh, okay. Well, that's exciting. I am a Soul IN-dentity Coach. And what does that mean? It really means bringing our humanness and our spiritualness in alignment. As we know, everything is energy. Science backs everything is energy. And yet we come on this earthly plane with such a vast array of knowledge, intuition, wisdom, and so on. And yet we tend to think we're just this human being that we learn all these things. So what I do is I guide, support, and facilitate women and entrepreneurs to go through a deep, what I call in-dentity recalibration. And that awakens the spirit within them, and that supports them to heal deeply if that's required, reclaim their identity, and lead from purpose-driven authority. In other words, it's bracing the oneness of all that is, which is each and every one of us, in our unique, yes, we're all unique, which is an interesting thing, because I had someone that had a human design session with me, and I was not aware that she was a twin and an identical twin. And at the end of that session that we were talking about, she then asked me a question about being an identical twin, yet there was one number in her chart that was different, just one small variation. And she said, "Can you answer that for me?" And I said, well, that really, to me, just embraces the fact that as much as you are so similar and have this identity of each other, you are unique. And that just proves that even though it's all in divine timing, that one little number of 1 degree shows your uniqueness. And she was, oh my gosh, I've never heard it that way. And there we go. So it's bringing out that beautiful, unique soul that we are.
Oh, I love it so much. And yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of work on myself over the last, God, I don't even know, I think it's like over 10 years now with it. And one of the things that, I'm very passionate about is stories, but your story is actually linked to your identity and the stories that we tell. But sometimes we don't know where the origin of those stories come from as well. So how important it is sort of helping people step into their identity and let go of the stories that are holding them back as well.
And that's so very true. We all, every single one of us, there is no one that is really different that has had some form of conditioning at some level, some more than others, and so on. But it's interesting that when we come into this earthly plane, we are calibrated. We have everything. We know everything. We are coming through in that foundation of love. And then, unfortunately, over time and, all good intention of supporting and teaching us, we then take on other people's thought patterns and limitations and so on, looking after us, protecting us, be careful when you climb that tree. That tends to instill a bit of fear in a child. So what they're doing straight away is looking around all the time instead of just embracing climbing the tree and using that instinct of knowing what is going to happen and when to stop. So, yeah, each and every one of us has conditioning in some form of another. And this is where, over my years of learnings, trainings, experiences, and so on, it really we've forgotten. We have forgotten the power that we are. We have forgotten that. And this is a little bit of controversial for some in this way, but when we're taught, and many of us have been taught to search for faith outside of ourselves in some form or of another, call it in. But unfortunately, when we do that, we are then saying we're separate. We are separate from the energy and the powers that be and what we're capable of, and that we need to call someone in. Faith does not need to be outsourced. It belongs within us. And that ripple effect is what changes the world, or lifts up someone's energy, or brings down someone's energy. So, yeah, that's a strong one for me. It's really worth trust and faith belong within ourselves, and that's what I facilitate, guide, and support to embody that, own it. Yeah.
I love how you said, like, we're actually already born with so many gifts. And
Yeah.
sometimes what happens, like the conditioning that you're talking about, but also too, we're just actually not even taught how to even enhance or activate, like whatever word, like there's all these, new terms that keep coming up all the time. But is that something that you also help people do, like help identify their gifts and help it, bloom a little bit more? Because I think so many of us are looking for, that person, I want to be like them. But we have so many amazing gifts ourselves.
And we do. And the interesting thing, Christine, is you're sharing there, when we do look at someone and we go, oh, look at them, I wish I could be like that or have some of that. Well, guess what? You cannot see that in someone else if it is not within you.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, no one is really more gifted than another, in the sense of, that intuitive wisdom that we have and innate wisdom. It's just that some choose to utilize that gift, strengthen that muscle or something like that, to tap into that part of them. It's not that you don't have it. It's just that, as you mentioned, we're not taught to tap into those strengths within us and so on. How many times have you heard, maybe at school, or someone's shared a story about their child being told to stop daydreaming at school, and yet that child is possibly very gifted and is bored in some way with the way the learnings have been shared and the teachings, and so they drift off into that beautiful, innate, intuitive part of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I always say, if people don't know what their gift is, what were you told you were too much of as a child? Like, I was too loud, I talked too much, and now look like I can do this as a living. And, I'm just like going, well, obviously I had something to say back then, but it was quietened down, because I grew up in, children were meant to be seen and not heard. And, especially with, females, like, you weren't meant to have a voice, and that was part of the generation that I grew up with. Are you finding women, most of the women that I'm, obviously they're around my age, late 40s, and they're now starting to realize that there is this gift within them. It is the intuition, it might be psychic abilities, like there's a whole heap of different things that they're now wanting to actually tap more into and allow it to come out more.
Yeah. And that's very true, and there is that saying, as we age and we get into our 40s and our 50s and 60s, so on, where it doesn't matter anymore to what someone is saying to us, in the sense of, not as in disrespect, we're listening, but in them telling us how we should be or shouldn't be or could be or would be, or yeah. So and that's what, my integration, my identity recalibration, which is a soul integration method that I have, it is truly bringing the human part of us and our spiritual into alignment. We speak of spirit, and for my learnings and teachings and all my experiences, spirit again is part of us. It's what we've forgotten, in the sense of that innate wisdom that we have, that intuitive guidance that we have, the gut feelings, sensing what's going on in our bodies, not just our mind. And this is what I do, is I strengthen, I don't do the work. Of course, the client must do the work. But having this beautiful technique that I have helps the mind to know it's okay to have the faith, to drop into the heart, because I also believe that the heart is not just the chamber of soul, and then into our solar plexus, which is aligned with heart, to bring that spirit, which is the heartbeat of soul. It is your heartbeat of all that is you. And when you can awaken that and listen to that, then you're going to trust. And that's a big thing. Is, yes, we say we trust people and we trust situations, but how many of us have boundaries up that we think are protecting us, but unfortunately we're missing out on opportunities because of boundaries that are more walls. So yes, that's what I help, is to trust what comes up. And that can be very scary for someone, where they've really been in their mind, in their logic all the time. So yeah. You're muted.
The dogs were barking, so I had to just quickly mute.
Oh, I was worried about that on my end.
Oh no, like honestly, the joys of working from home, people, and this is why I love keeping this podcast absolutely real. So if anyone has a dachshund, they'll understand. They just bark at any tiny noise with it. So what is got you into what you do? Like, is there a moment? Was it a series of events? Like, what actually got you into choosing this to be able to help other people?
Oh, that's a good question. Firstly, I'll say my mother. I thank her so dearly and miss her so much. My mother was a participant, in the medical system, who had a mental health illness, and unfortunately was a guinea pig at the time, which, unfortunately that's how it happened. But it had me realize how much more to us there is, like, because she had this label, then everything she spoke was not listened to, because she was categorized. And and yet my mother was very wise and very intuitive. So firstly, that was, my upbringing, seeing her and learning things through seeing my dysfunctional environment. I just felt that there was always something different about myself. Like, I used to ask myself the question, how did I get into this family? Like, because my brothers are so different to myself. Like, And then I started to become unwell and was becoming invisible. And to the extent I was working more my husband's business than anything for myself, I was supporting that. That was the go at the time, and so on. I sent emails out to clients and things, and I received an email back that was signed by myself, and they said, "Thanks, John." And I went, "Wow, hold on, my name's all over this." Like, I replied, "My name's Lorraine." And that's when I started to realize I was shrinking. I was becoming invisible. I wasn't in a happy place. I wasn't being recognized for things that I was good at. And then I became unwell and had a blood clot under my left arm, which rushed a procedure through and so on. And I actually cancelled that. It was to come through I postponed it. It was to come through in a couple of weeks, or everything was rushed. I had an MRI because they needed to find out whether there were any more blood clots in my body. And that's when they found a different growth in my body and kept asking me whether I could feel this. And I said no. And it was crushing my stomach and my ovaries, and it was not good. So it was rushed. I went to the doctor to organise all of that, and came back downstairs. And thank goodness my diary was in my car, and my husband's driving. I look up and I go, "Oh, I can't do surgery on that day. I need to ring the doctor." So I rang the doctor and asked him 3 days after surgery, could I just go and sit somewhere? I won't walk, I promise. I'll just do, because this was my journey of learning my skills and my qualifications. And he just said, "No, Lorraine, sorry, you can't do that." And I said, "Well, will you change the date?" And he just went, "What?" And in the meantime, my husband's next to me calling me all sorts of crazy names. And this is life and death. And what are you doing? And I just looked at him and I went, "Have you ever thought there may be more to this?" And so doctor accommodated, changed the date. I went and did my first lot of training to what I was interested in, what I was drawn to. And when I came out of that and then had the surgery, I realized I'd created all of this myself, within myself. This invisibility, I was truly making myself invisible and becoming unwell and so on. And from that point on, I didn't use the medication that was given to me. I came home. I probably have had 6 Panadol in, 16 years, if that. I take nothing else. And I just realized how powerful we really are. And that was my turning point, I think. Well, yeah, part of it.
Yeah. I always say that, the universe sends us 3 signs. It's the feather, which is the little tickle, the rock, drops on your foot and it hurts, or they send us the Mack truck. And obviously you've had the Mack truck, and here we are with
it. And I agree with that. So
yeah. Looking back now, what has been the biggest change that you've seen in yourself?
Well, in myself, I'm far more open than I used to be. I was very strong, a very strong person. But yeah, I just thought that I knew it, and I knew everything. And I realized by that experience that there was so much that I wasn't even aware of that was happening inside of me, that I couldn't know everything. So I became more open-minded and more into my health and like listening within me. Not, certainly listening to suggestions and helpful advice and so on. And I take that on board, but I trust myself. And I suppose the biggest thing was that I understood that as much as money makes the world go round, many of us work so hard that we don't get to enjoy our money because our money then gets spent on our health and all the things we need to keep healthy, sort of thing. By all means, I'm not, perfect, and I, eat bad food and things like that, but it's just had me be more aware of what we're capable of, what I'm capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say to people that starting a business is the biggest personal development journey you will ever go on. What is that like, being in business for yourself and using your gifts as your business? What do you think one of the gifts that you probably didn't realize that you have that has come forward?
Um, well, I suppose I didn't realize that I had a beautiful technique that is supports meditation. If you're a person that meditates, that is absolutely beautiful and it is so powerful and so on. But unfortunately, through our day, we don't necessarily have the time and can be so easily taken out of that space as much as we practice it. And we can have rituals in the morning and so on. And I was fortunate to come through with and be shown a technique that can bring us back into that moment of now, which is the most important moment, and minimize anxiety and so on by bringing us back to who we are right now. And I
Absolutely.
didn't know that I could do that or had that in me.
Yeah.
So it's created, a visual and a technique that is different to others, but it's very much about the mind recalibration and the heart coherence and the masculine and feminine energy, as we all are both, and that sort of thing. Yeah, so it just helped me realize, yeah, I used to think I wasn't smart enough because I didn't go to high school like other people and so on. So I just used to think I was not intelligent, not smart enough.
Yeah. It's interesting the stories that play out. I mean, I failed English at high school. And so interesting enough, like here I am running 2 magazines and done 5 number 1 international bestsellers. Like, like there's all these things, and you just sit there like going, that story could have like literally defined me. Yet it's actually
Yeah,
empowered me to be able to let other people know that, you know, it's, are you going to let that story define you? Or
yeah,
are you going to let that story, if you share it, can help other people's? And I truly believe like what you're doing is, by sharing your story, you're now helping other people, maybe that light bulb's going off, going, oh, hang on a second. These are the things that, I'm getting these messages, but I'm not sure what they truly mean. Here's somebody who could potentially
yeah,
help me.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I do trust that I'm helping someone along the way. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to know them or see them, but as you said, that light bulb moment that may happen when someone's listening to this or watching this,
Yeah.
yeah, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
truly wonderful. Because what I
Yeah.
do, if it was about the money, I wouldn't be doing it. Do you
Mm,
know what I mean? Like over the struggles of business and so on. If it was truly about the money, I would have walked away, many a time. But
mm,
I love what I do, and I know that in 2020 it was, or 2021, I was received the message, the world needs it now, Lorraine. And I just went, whoa, hold on. What does the world need now? This was that technique,
yeah.
that clear view technique, and I've gone, how on earth am I going to put this in?
Yeah.
I know it and I get it, but how
Yeah.
am I going to put this into something
Yeah.
that people can benefit from? And
Yeah.
lo and behold, the people came across my path that I needed, and uh, it just came together, and it was wow. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. The word surrender, which is very much like that, moment, has been a love dislike, like in my whole sort of, pathway over the last, because I'm like, oh, you're telling me these things, but hang on a second, like, you want me to fully surrender and just trust the process? Whereas me, I'm a control freak and a perfectionist and, want everything all organized and to see the pathway. But a lot of the times is that we don't need to know the how. It's knowing that our gifts are enough, that the right
Yeah.
people will come into it as well.
Soul
So
will guide us and show
yeah,
us the how and bring
yeah,
forth the how. We need to trust,
yes,
as you said,
absolutely.
trust. Have
Oh
the
yeah,
faith within ourselves, not
yeah,
outsourced, within ourselves,
yeah.
trust the process, embody and own our worth,
Mhm.
and go from there.
Yeah, 100%, 100% with that. What has been the biggest learning curve that you have embarked on in your journey so far? That if somebody's sitting here going, oh, I've been getting these messages, like, like what do I do? What has been that biggest sort of learning curve that if someone's watching now that will help them to know that they are on the right pathway?
I think the biggest learning curve possibly is having faith in myself, truly, to allow the mind to surrender into heart space, into soul space. Um, yeah, and really listen to yourself. Again, you, as you mentioned, you don't need to know the how. If you are truly getting a repetitive message in some form or another coming across your path, then listen.
Yeah,
Listen.
yeah,
Even if it does not make sense, listen and take one action step that is towards this message of, that you could do right now, whether that be, I need to telephone this person, or I need to make an appointment over here, or
mm,
listen.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
the biggest thing, is to, yeah, listen and not compare yourself to anyone.
No. Oh, I love that so much because I think so many of us, it's like we can get so down the rabbit hole, when we're looking on social media going, oh, this person's doing this person's showing up this way,
Yeah,
but what works for you. And, I always say to people, like, your why is your biggest marketing tool, but also too, you want to show up authentically as
yeah,
yourself. So how people see you online is how they should be meeting you in person as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
um so there's not that whole disconnect happening.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. How can people work with you?
Oh, they can work with me many ways. I have a few different um, programs that I do. My main program is a 12-month program, because the journey of being new, and the reason it's 12 months is it seems like a long time, but it actually goes so fast. And we're so easily led back into old patterns, from previous. And so hence, that's my job, is to help you stay on track. It seems like it's a simple technique to master, but the idea is, if you do not understand what is happening, then how are you going to master it if you're not understanding there's maybe something subtle and very seem minimal, or there may be something that very powerful, a word that comes through, and so on. So I do have various courses, but I'm just now bringing in a beautiful foundation circle that I'm drawn and guided to start a movement, and it is the within movement.
Oh,
And
love
I'm
it.
yeah, I've opened up an 8-week program, 8 weeks of learning my beautiful technique, my soul integration method. And this is just a snippet of what you can learn and how you can understand that it isn't just the heart that brings us to soul. It's more than that. It's that, as I said, human and spiritual essence. And you're learning an evergreen technique that you'll end up being able to use for the rest of your life to bring you. So, you know, they can work on with I will not ever do one session because, you know, as much as every session is powerful, in some way you'll always learn something about yourself and so on. But if you're serious about changing things, and it's not that you're becoming someone new, you're actually just coming home and being that soul that you are. So if they're interested, they can, you know, contact me via Facebook, LinkedIn, send me a message. And yeah, there's different offers that I have available. But this foundation circle is it's going to be an introductory price for the first 12 people to be founding members of that. And from there, it will then raise a little bit more each time for that 8 weeks.
Absolutely. We're going to pop all the details of how people can reach out to you below as well. So, you know, I
It's
just
called
think,
the Inner Reset Experience.
oh, beautiful. Oh, I love that. I love it. Because I think right now everyone is going through their own reset.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of noise in the world. And, you know, like you said, it comes back to self. Like if you can reset yourself, then the ripple effect that happens around you is immense because other people start to feel
Yep.
it as well.
I agree. I get very frustrated with my brother, one of my brothers, who does not agree with me that one person can change the world. And
Oh,
he just does not agree with that at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
And I just, you know, I give him the example of each person that you're seeing or people are following. That was one person that had an idea, that had a thought and shared
yeah,
it with someone else.
yeah,
And yes, there became a movement or a group of people and so on. But it was one person
yeah,
that someone else went, oh, I understand what you're saying there. I agree with that. I like that.
yeah,
Like, yeah, let me know more.
yeah.
And there's the ripple effect.
Absolutely. One pebble, throw into the pond and look at the ripple effect that it creates. So,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I just think you're absolutely amazing of what you're doing. It is so needed. Everybody needs to come back to self. Everybody needs to have that reset. So, we'll pop all the details below. Before
Thank
we
you.
go, I have 4 questions that I've been asking all of my guests this year just to get to know you on a personal level. So if you're ready, beautiful, I would.
Okay.
They're very
I think I'm
easy.
ready.
You are ready. You're fine. Do you have a favorite motivational quote?
Oh, yeah, spirit is the heartbeat of soul.
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. Is there a book that you recommend people to be reading right now?
Oh, a book. There's a few of them that I like, but I do like the Dr. Bruce Lipton's The Biology of Belief. I
Oh,
absolutely because awareness is key, as we know.
yes.
Awareness is key.
Yeah.
And this is science backed that you have 50 trillion cells of awareness within you. And each one of those cells has its own awareness, each one of them. And the contractor to that awareness is your mind and your environment.
Mm,
So, what are you feeding those cells?
mm,
What are you feeding? So, when people say, you know, awareness is key, it most certainly is, because what is happening to those 50 trillion cells of awareness
mm.
that are within you right now?
Yes.
So, Dr. Bruce Lipton, I think, is a brilliant scientist, yeah,
Well, I'm
person.
going to add that one to my list. Absolutely. So that is for sure. Who is an inspirational person in your field that we should be following?
Oh, oh, in my field. There's so many people out there, and I suppose I really don't follow any particular person. Like I heard a beautiful, 20-year-old tennis player say that she doesn't put pressure on herself in the sense of her outcomes. She looks at the aspects of herself and what she has, like, and plays in that moment. Like, and this person's only 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think I can actually pinpoint
That's okay.
one.
That's okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
look, it would be a hard thing for me right now to choose just one person. So, with it.
Yeah.
And is there somebody that you think that we should be having on the show?
Ooh, yeah. Well, there are so many beautiful people out there that I know, like that, you know, Susie Cherub.
Yeah.
Like she's someone I think that is full of wisdom,
Yes. Yes.
Um, Robin and Joe and Trish and Christine.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
and depending on the information that
Yeah.
you're after, there are
Yeah.
just so many beautiful souls
Yeah.
out there that we can learn something from. Even if
Yeah.
it's the most smallest thing, can create such a huge change.
Exactly. Exactly. And I guess that's the biggest thing that, having conversations just like we've had today, that it could have, like I was saying, the ripple effect in somebody else's life. It could set that
Yeah.
light bulb moment off. So I'm just so grateful for you to be here today to share your gifts with our audience as well. And, as I said, like that one moment, there is one moment that could happen
Yeah.
with it. So thank you so much, beautiful, for joining us today, being our special guest for our 200th episode as well. And yeah, you just keep shining so bright. And we're going to drop all the links below of how people can reach out to you.
Well, thank you so much, Christine. And you know yourself, as I'm sure, and I'll remind you just in case, you are such an inspiration. You are
Thank you.
sharing messages out there that are, going to change people's lives or help them in the way for them to change something, as you said. Like, so thank you so much for listening to your skills and your talents from a child and stepping forward and utilizing them and bringing this out. Like, yeah,
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. I'm so grateful for everybody who told me I was too loud or too vocal as a kid. So thank you so much for that. What a gift that was. So I
Yeah.
am so grateful for it. Amazing. So thank you for Lorraine for being here. Thank you for everyone who has watched and listened today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Put all the details below of how you can reach out. And remember that dreams plus action equal reality. So dream big, take that aligned action and sit back and watch it all become a reality. Love and light to you all.